Hey guys, this is
Osh.
Sam?
Jake. We're going to review the planning and conducting of surveys. Let's get into it.
To begin with, choose a sampling method. Keep in mind that regardless of the method you choose, you must take the sample from the whole population. The types of sampling include the simple random sample, which is where each individual is chosen randomly and entirely by chance. Each individual is equally likely to be selected in a simple random sample. Ways of accomplishing this include the hat method, or in our example on the board, we assign members of a population number, and then using your calculator, we generate random numbers to figure out which member should be selected for the sample. So using your calculator, we will go to math, scroll over to probability, down to number 5, random integer, press enter, and then we will enter the numbers of individuals in our population, in this instance 1 through 10, and then close your parentheses and press enter. We got 8, 1, and 4. So we wanted to select 3 people for our sample, and in this instance we got individual number 8, 1, and 4. Another method is the stratified random sample, which is similar to the simple random sample. However, before choosing individuals, the population is divided into homogeneous groups. For example, male and a female group. A simple random sample is then chosen from each group. So as you can see on the board, we have our population of 6 black and 6 green, and we split them up into 2 homogeneous groups of 6 green and 6 black, and then a simple random sample is chosen from each group.
So the cluster method is accomplished by dividing the population into groups representative of the population so that the groups are internally heterogeneous while the groups themselves are homogeneous. A random sample of the clusters is taken to choose a certain number of the clusters to participate in the sample. So here we're using a similar example with dots, but we'll think about it in terms of a school and each dot representing a classroom. So if we want to get a certain type of information, when we use a cluster sample, what we do is we randomly select a couple of the classrooms, and within each of the classrooms, we select all of the students within that to make up our sample where we get our information from and make our data analysis and generalizations from.
Once you have chosen a sampling method, avoid potential sources of sampling bias. Non-response bias is a scenario in which the sample becomes non-representative of the true population because some of the selected individuals of a sample choose not to respond, and their opinion on the topic at hand may differ from the rest of the sample. In this example, we have a man asking for a survey from a person from the blue group and a person from the green group. In this example, people from the blue group are more likely to respond to the survey than people from the green group, leading to an underrepresentation of the people from the green group in the survey. The best way to avoid non-responders is to conduct in-person surveys. Undercoverage is when some members of the population are not properly represented in the survey. The error is the result of the sampling method having a bias against individuals in certain groups. In this example, the sample only includes people with landlines, thereby underrepresents the people without landlines. The people without landlines may have a different opinion on the topic than people with landlines, so this would change the results of the survey. To avoid this issue, the sample should be randomly selected from the entire population.
Voluntary response bias occurs when answering the survey is strictly voluntary. When this happens, individuals with moderate or indifferent opinions may not take the survey, while those with stronger opinions for either side of the topic will take the survey. The best way to avoid voluntary response bias is to conduct in-person surveys and make sure that the individual you're surveying knows that they do not have a choice of whether to respond or not. An example of this would be if a radio station asked its listeners to call in and answer a survey. Only those who would want to answer the survey would call in. Those who don't call in could have differing opinions from those who did, causing voluntary response bias. Response bias occurs when those taking a survey may not respond with their true opinion on the topic because they may feel social pressure or choose one answer over the answer that represents their true feelings. The bias may also be caused by surveys that influence the respondent to choose an answer because of the way they are worded. A way to avoid this is to word the questions in such a way that they are neutral and do not favor one answer over another. For our example, the question is, oranges have health benefits. Which do you prefer, apples or oranges? So the wording of this question favors oranges, therefore responders are more likely to pick oranges over apples, causing response bias. It is important to note that you can only generalize your results to the population you took the sample from. You also cannot infer cause and effect from an observational study, such as a survey.
Thanks for watching. For more practice, do the problems on the screen.